Hey there everyone, welcome to another recap and analysis. This time it's going to be on the UU Open Round 1 match that I had because I felt that it was an extremely good play on my part and it had some of what I think is a lot of what quintessential Eternal Snowman should be. And this is what has made me what I feel like a top player in Ubers, although this is an Ubers match. Part of it has to do with team building, part of it has to do with information, and something that I really pride myself on, I feel like a lot of top players don't really do as much as they should, and lower level players just don't do at all, is playing with information. And I think playing with information is one of the strongest things that you can do in this game, because what Pokemon has is the option to change what it is that you do and how you play your sets. And the reason why I've gotten a lot of flack is because I use these so-called meme sets or so-called like unviable sets, right? But the reason why I think these sets are good aren't because individually I think it's good. I think the surprise factor is what makes these sets very successful, and playing with that information is extremely good. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a bad set or like a meme set. So okay, let's just jump right into the team. So it was a both match. I won 2-0. I'm going to be analyzing both matches, but mainly the first one is the one that I'm talking about in terms of the information play. My opponent wasn't like a spectacular anyway, so it's not like I'm like hugely accomplished. I feel hugely accomplished because of this win. My first team is hard offense. It's running double Scarfers, Arrow, high amounts of speed control, not that much prio, but high amounts of speed control with one defensive SR setter, which is kind of what HO has been for me recently. And rather than a suicide lead, because I had a team with Azelf as well, I wanted to go with Swampert because this was kind of like an adapted team. I actually had Roost over Pursuit for the game, although it didn't really matter because I never sent out Arrow. But the team... Okay, so let's just start from the top. It was built around Specs Kyurem because Kyurem has a lot of pressure. With this specific moveset, it doesn't hit Scizor, so I had Magneton in there for the HP Fire support, as well as Volt Switch support, and speed control with Choice Scarf. Mienshao and Infernape are my wall-breaking duo because they have extremely high amounts of wall-breaking pressure. Very little can switch into them. Just having fighting resists in general is very difficult in UU because outside of like Togekiss and Latios, there really aren't that many switch-ins, and like Latios gets like 2-hit KO'd by High Jump Kick if it's not running like significant defense. It gets 2-hit KO'd after Rocks by High Jump Kick, which is kind of ridiculous. And then Infernape, there's not that many switch-ins, so the team is like kind of standard in terms of like sets, except for, so it's Edgequake, Arrow. It had Roost in the slot with Wing Attack, and then a Nasty Plot, Fire Blast, Infernape. So the sets, like this is the Infernape set is like the main one that I'm looking at, and then Mienshao is like a personal favorite for me because Reckless High Jump Kick does like 1,000,000 damage, and almost nothing can switch into it safely. So let's just jump into it because I want to point out what were the good plays, and this is the one that I'm talking about. So right off the bat, he's bringing Stall. Something that you should notice about this is that it's a no electric immunity team. This is extremely important because I lead with Magneton knowing that this is the case, and it's extremely safe to lead Magneton because the only Pokemon that can really punish Magneton on lead is Amoonguss, but it's uncommon that he's going to go for Amoonguss because of the possibility that I lead with Arrow or Infernape as like a Stealth Rocks lead. Although he probably assumes that Swampert is my Stealth Rocker, but like if I lead Arrow, Infernape with Mienshao or any of these Pokemon, Amoonguss is just not extremely good. So I lead with Magneton. He leads with Xatu, assuming that I'm going to go Swampert. And this turn 1 is the best scenario it could have turned out to be, because he can't lose Xatu. In his mind, he can't lose Xatu. And so he's forced to switch out because of the possibility that Magneton is Specs, or that I just go T-Bolt and it just OHKO him, especially if he's not Spadef invested, because Xatu isn't that defensively, like, it's not a good defensive Pokemon because its stats just aren't that good. It's mainly used on, like, he mainly chose this Pokemon because of its ability to use, because it has reliable recovery and it has magic bounce. It's also, like, pretty good at walling the Pokemon it does wall. Like, for example, it is a fighting resist, so it does wall like Mienshao. Although, like, Stone Edge can still, like, hit it on the switch and stuff. Blah, 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 whatever. So he goes for Protect. I go for Volt Switch. He knows I'm going Volt Switch. He goes Blissey because he knows that's the least damage Pokemon or Amoonguss. But this is the play that I think is fantastic by me. So, whatever. Crit doesn't matter. I go Infernape here. This is what I mean by playing with information. Because Infernape has so many viable sets, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to run it, he has no way of knowing what set I'm going to be running right off the bat. So as soon as I switch an Infernape, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's assuming that I'm going to be clicking close combat because of the nature of how Infernape works. His Life Orb close combat is going to be OHKOing him. And knowing this, he can't keep Blissey in because Blissey is extremely important on his team because it's his only Pokemon that can switch into Kyurem. Kyurem will just run over everything else if Blissey dies. And this is extremely important to him. So he has to switch Blissey out because he can't risk close combat. If I was close combat here, there's zero reason for him to stay in. Infernape provides so much pressure there, but obviously, as you guys know, I'm Nasty Plot. This is a scenario where, because I haven't revealed anything, the fact that I'm switching Infernape in means that I'm getting a Nasty Plot up on Blissey and forcing it out for free. A special attacker is forcing Blissey out for free. That's how ridiculous this is. I'm also not Focus Blast either, so I have no way of hitting Blissey harder than like 30%. Like, my Z move does a lot, but, like, I can only use it once, and Blissey can recover it pretty easily, which is ridiculous. So, he goes Xatu, and I get the Nasty Plot, because he's assuming I'm going to be clicking close combat. Just think about this play. Look at how free I get this freest Nasty Plot into an advantageous situation, because Xatu is 100% going to be running Fizz Def, since it wants to check fighting type Pokemon. Infernape now OHKOs with Fire Blast and then pressures the hell out of his team because there's no Pokemon on his team that can actually beat Infernape 1v1. I then get the Fire Blast on the Xatu, it OHKOs, and at this point, he's already lost. It's very hard for teams to break stall because there are specific Pokemon that do really well, or like, specific Pokemon that will like just wall your entire team, and the core defensive cores are very good against balance and offensive cores because, like, unless one specific Pokemon is very good at breaking it, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to break the stall, barring good plays and whatnot. So the reason why stall is so good in a lot of matchups, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, because there aren't Pokemon that will run things that beat all the mons on stall. For example, like Mega Aerodactyl. Yes, it threatens 5 out of the 6 mons on this stall team, barring if it's weakened and we've OHKOs it, whatever. But because Aloe is there, every single time Aero comes in, you can just go Aloe. And then stall also runs a significant amount of mons that like have passive recovery. So like in these scenarios, you're just PP stalling, you're switching around, but they're getting the advantage with their leftovers, with their stealth rocks, and you're not likely to run as much recovery as stall does. So it's going to just outpace you. These regen cores, these whatever. So I'd get the Fire Blast. It doesn't do that much. He goes for Stealth Rocks. He knows I'm a special attacker. Honestly, I feel like the Stealth Rocks was a bad play because it was extremely greedy. He was expecting me to switch out. I get the Z move. It OHKOs. It turned the tides of this game. This one play and I just win. Like the rest of this game doesn't really matter because I like just play safe and then eventually I just get the win with Magneton. I only needed to use 2 Pokemon that entire game in a broke stall because of this one play. Right. And then I'll just move on to the next game because the next game also kind of interesting. My opponent threw really hard in this game, but my team, extremely high offense. I do like running offensive teams just because they are more my style. I can also run BO, but mainly this is like an Ubers only thing because there's a Pokemon like Primal Kyogre. Because Primal Kyogre is just so good in the Ubers metagame at forcing 50-50s and winning these 50-50s is so much more rewarding in Ubers than in any other tier. There's no real Pokemon like that. Like, you can argue Suicune is kind of like that, but its Scald doesn't provide the same offensive pressure in UU like Kyogre's does in Ubers, because even just hitting like Pokemon that resist it or just like are neutral to it just does so much more damage as Kyogre than any other Pokemon, so it's very good. The reason why I think balanced bulky offense is super good in Ubers right now. But my point is, offense is a lot more my style. Specs Prim, these are Pokemon that like just pressure really hard, all really hard pressure Pokemon. And my opponent's really scared of bringing stall this game, so he obviously goes for a more offensively paced team after game 1. So I just lead Prim. He doesn't want to sack his Pokemon, so he goes Tentacruel. There's not that much to talk about this game because it's just like me playing safe, and then I just go Thunderbolt here because I know this is a safe play. I wanted to bring Thunderbolt as opposed to like other moves just because it pressures a lot more. Scizor dies to the double Thunderbolt. I lose Latios to it, so probably a pretty good trade for him. I go Koba. He gets a burn here, which is unfortunate. And then I just go Mamo, get the Ice Shard on Latios, ends up being Scarf. I kill Weavile with Sharpedo. He ends up being Scarf Latios. And then I make like a decent play at the end because essentially he doesn't KO with Stone Edge, and then I just predict him to switch and then go for the U-turn, and then I win because he's stupid. And even though if he went for like an extra turn or poison, he would have won, but like whatever. He's just not a very good player. So like I said. So yeah, just very standard game. That's not really the one I want. I was playing more about the first game, about how information is extremely important. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you apply these same things into your gameplay because I think it is extremely good, and it makes a huge difference between the top level players, the mid level players, and even like the best players in the world. I think a lot of the best players in the world are able to play with this information. And the difference between the top level players and mid level players, like a lot of top level players use this. The difference between like mid level players, they just play on prediction alone, not these, not this kind of information, which is what I think is extremely good, and extremely, yeah, just essentially I'm saying apply it to your gameplay and you'll see improvements. So I'll see you guys next time for another recap and analysis of whatever I decide to do. With BLT done, I'll be uploading some other BLT videos as well, but maybe you should be expecting some Smogon Grand Slam videos. UU Open, RU Open, NU Open, LC Open, Ubers Open. If I see any good matches that are worth analyzing, I'll definitely get it to you guys. But don't expect me to be doing analysis of every round like I did for this round, just because I'm busy, and I might do it later on if there are, but like for good matches, I'll definitely do it because I have enough time to do that much. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed.